Hello everyone, it's Seth, probably better known as Saffron Olive, and it's time for another Instant Deck Tech. So as you know, Tuesday means it's Type 2 or Standard Tuesday, and we have a sweet one today. Normally, when I think of Esper, I think of controlling decks, Approach of the Second Sun, Scarab Gods, things like that. Today's deck kind of flips that paradigm on its head. Instead of being controlling, we're looking at Esper Aggro. Comes to us from Tenji Kansuki, who took it to a top 8 finish at a small Japanese tournament, so congrats to Tenji on a really cool deck. A quick reminder before we break down Esper Aggro for Ixalan Standard. If you enjoy this deck and you want to see it made into videos, take a minute, click the like button, the subscribe button, leave a comment, anything you can do to support your deck, because whichever deck is most popular gets a shot at being made into videos next week. So probably the easiest way to understand this Esper Aggro deck is just kind of work our way up the curve. This is kind of a curve out type deck, and we're looking to, starting on turn 2, cast something powerful, cast something powerful, cast something powerful, cast something powerful, all the way up to 5 mana. Hopefully that's enough to win us the game. So as you can see, our 2 drops are pretty aggressive, starting with 4 copies of Glory-Bound Initiate, which is a really aggressive threat. 2 mana, it's a 3/1, and it doesn't sound that great, but when it attacks, you can exert it, and it becomes a 4/4 with lifelink, so it can get in for huge chunks of damage. Scrabby Scrounger gives us a recursive 3/2, so it just keeps attacking, keeps attacking, keeps attacking, and Gifted Aetherborn is just a great metagame call on decks that can cast it. It's so good against the energy deck, because it can take down huge bristling hydras, huge things with counters from winding constrictors, all that kind of stuff, thanks to Death Touch for just 2 mana. So it kind of works as like this weird removal spell that sits on the battlefield. Plus, another reoccurring theme of this deck is it's got a ton of life gain. So in some ways, this is like a meta game deck. It's got tons of life gain to fight against Ramen Bread, the second most popular of the 2 decks that are really played in Standard, and then it has a lot of good things for blocking and competing against energy threats. So hopefully this is a deck that can maybe fight through the 2 big decks in Standard. At least that's the idea. So 2 drops, aggressive, gaining life, death touching to take down big teamer energy threats. In the 3 drop slot, we get some more life gain in Sunscourge Champion. Gains us some life when it enters the battlefield, comes back from the graveyard, even bigger with Eternalize. And then Gideon of the Trials isn't really a creature, but we included him in the slot. It's a 4/4 attacker when we want him to be. Can also stop the damage of one of our opponent's things. The emblem can be great against Approach of the Second Sun stacks, buying us a lot of time. Our opponent has to find like a cast out or an Ixalan's Binding for Gideon before they can kill us with their Approach of the Second Sun. So just a very strong card in certain matchups. As far as the 4 drops, Hostage Taker and Gonti Lord of Luxury are great in different matchups. So Hostage Taker is great in the aggro plan. You can kind of see our curve developing. We cast a aggressive 2 drop, follow that up by an aggressive 3 drop like Gideon, Hostage Taker away our opponent's blocker, getting a huge attack that lets us kind of win on this really aggressive keep attacking type plan. Gonti, on the other hand, is another great threat against teamer energy, those type of decks. Death Touch, much like Gifted Aetherborn, lets us take down the huge attackers that they can provide. We can steal one of their cards from their library, which is always nice. So a really nice mixture of 4 drops here. And then topping off our curve, much like our Hostage Taker, we have a bunch of removal heavy 5 drops. So imagine our curve, like we were talking about before. We start off with the Scrappy Scrounger, follow that up by a Gideon, keep attacking, Hostage Taker a blocker, keep attacking, Angel of Sanctions the next blocker, keep attacking. So we just keep getting our opponent's blockers out of the way so we can keep getting in these hits and close out the game quickly. Angel of Sanctions, also excellent against the token deck, taking down Anointed Processions, taking down hidden stockpiles. So a very strong and probably somewhat underrated card, honestly. And then Sky Sovereign, Council Flagship, kind of like a mini Angel of Sanctions, can shoot down a creature or a planeswalker, gives us another huge flying attacker to keep forcing through that damage, keep attacking our opponent. As far as our removal, Fatal Push helps us in the early game, fighting against Ramen Bread, also like Servant of the Conduits, Long Tusk Cubs. We've talked before about passing the 2 tests of Standard, the Long Tusk Cub test and then the Hazoret test. Fatal Push is the best answer, best way to pass that Long Tusk Cub test. Walk the Plank gets rid of anything essentially at sorcery speed, since Merfolk aren't really played, and Vraska's Contempt, along with Hostage Taker and Angel of Sanctions, means we have tons of ways to pass the Hazoret too. So this deck just has so many cards that line up so well against the best decks in the standard meta right now. Really excited about it for that reason. I don't know how it'll compete with the lower tier decks, Blue-White Approach, playing against random token decks, some of the fringe decks, but against the two top decks in the format, we got a lot of cards that you want to fight those matchups. We even have 4 Duresses in the main deck, which I think is our main way to fight against something like Blue-White Approach in game 1. It gives us a slight chance to steal those approaches from our opponent's hand, get rid of the cast outs to keep our Gideon alive to win that way. So an interesting addition to the main deck. Mana base wise, bunch of dual lands, some of the cycling duels as well, a bunch of basics. In the sideboard, we get some interesting options for customizing our threats while still being aggressive. Gifted Aetherborn, like we were talking about, some in the main, we can bring in more, great against Temur Energy, great against Ramadan Bread. Glintsleeve Siphoner is a really strong 2-drop in slower, more grindy matchups where we can do the Dark Confidant imitation. We don't have a lot of energy sources, but even drawing a card every other turn with Glintsleeve Siphoner is still a pretty good deal if we can keep forcing through the attacks and drawing some extra cards. Cast Out gives us another way of dealing with Planeswalkers, with enchantments and artifacts that see play in the format. Then we have a bunch of stuff for controlling matchups, Negate and Duress to help against the approach decks primarily. Also good against decks like Temur Energy after sideboarding, where they're going to bring in their Duresses and Negates and so forth. And then Legion's Landing is also a really interesting control option. We can flip it and it gives us a steady stream of card advantage by making a token every single turn. And then we do have one Scarab God in the sideboard, and that is Esper Aggro for standard, and that's our instant deck tech for today. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will talk to you soon. Thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, help us out by clicking that like button down below. And to keep up on all the latest and greatest, click that subscribe button. And don't forget to hit that bell icon to get alerts whenever we have new videos. And if you want to, check out some of our other sweet videos here and here.